Tom, I'm really glad you like the machine. I'm really glad you like the machine, Tom, and let me know if you want another one. Sewing machines are so much more fun to collect than typewriters, you know what I mean? And you saw that premiere about Mike Sanborn and his wife? Do you remember, Mike? I know it's been a long time ago. Well, at any rate, thanks, Tom, and the best to you and your wife. I saw on a news feed you guys became Greek citizens. Is that for real? It really is, huh? That's awesome. Well, I'm getting ready to do a premiere right now, and I'm down in the workshop, and I'm hearing polka music, so I gotta find out what's going on. Somehow I'm suspecting that either Dr. Singer or Mr. Bean are behind it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know you do. All right, Mr. Hanks, take care, sir. Yep, bye. What is going on down here? Ah, hey, Mr. Bean, how's it going? What? Oh, that's right. We're supposed to be doing this premiere on Debbie's Model 230 Pfaff today because we're getting ready to ship it back to her out in Pennsylvania. And but what's going on with this other machine? What is that, a 229 it looks like? Let me see. Yeah, that is a 229. So we've got a 229 on the right, which is one of my machines, and then we've got Debbie's Pfaff 230 on the left there. So what's your game plan, Mr. Bean? What are you doing? Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I have been mentioning that in some of the recent premieres. You're right. I've been mentioning that. I'm getting more and more intrigued by the power of the LED lights that they have out now that can go right into the machine lighting housings. You don't have to stick them on like that recent machine that I sent back to Plano, Texas. These will actually go in. They're twin fin type bulbs, and they'll fit in there perfectly. They work on the Pfaff machines. They work on the Husqvarna Vikings, and probably a number of other machines that will take a bulb like that. So brilliant. So obviously the super bright one on the left, which is Debbie's Pfaff 230, that's the one that you put that LED bulb in, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's super bright. It's a beautiful, beautiful lighted bed. And the needle you can see as well, even from this distance. And then my 229 on the right, that's the one that has a standard bulb in it. So this is really brilliant. I really appreciate you putting all this together, Mr. Bean. Yes, yes, yes. I know you're wanting to be an assistant as far as helping with machines. I'll tell you what. Since you did such a phenomenal job in setting all of this up today, you set up this light display to highlight the difference between the LED in Debbie's machine on the left that I installed and the standard bulb in the 229 from my personal collection on the right. And you set all this other stuff up brilliantly. Okay, why don't we, on a trial basis, when I have a Pfaff machine that comes up, why don't you plan on being a part of that premiere if you're available? I know you travel over to the United Kingdom all the time. You still have a very strong following over there. But if you're available, I'll try to involve you in the premieres, and I'll also involve you in the prep work and getting the Pfaff machine ready. Is that fair enough? Fabulous. Okay. All right. Yes, yes, I was on the phone with Tom Hanks walking into here. You heard that, huh? Even amid the polka music? I didn't know you like polka music. Okay, well, I know you like dancing, and what's better for dancing than polka music? I couldn't agree more. But I'm curious, let me get some lights on in the workshop. I can't quite see what you're standing on the top of and what that's all about. So let me get some lights on, and we'll put a little bit more light on the situation, as they say. But again, Dr. Bean, see, you got me thinking that way already. So, Mr. Bean, although in one of your movies, I think it was Return to Mr. Bean or something like that, you did play a doctor, didn't you? But, well, Mr. Bean, you did a fabulous job. Oh, okay. I got it. I think I know what you're standing on the top of and what it's all about? I think I do. I'll bet you inside of that case, there's a musical instrument, isn't there? Is there a musical instrument inside of there, Mr. Bean? That looks like a musical instrument case. Yeah, I think it is. And that really shows that you're serious about wanting to become an assistant like Dr. Singer, because you've done your research, haven't you? You've done your research, and you know that as we look at the history of the Pfaff sewing machine company, that it was founded in Kaiserslautern, Germany in 1862 by an instrument maker that has nothing to do with a compressed air machine. It was founded in 1862 by an instrument maker, George Michael Pfaff, who lived from 1823 to 1893. And Pfaff's first machine was handmade and designed to sew leather in the manufacturing of shoes. And in 1885, George Michael Pfaff opened a sewing machine shop in London. That's where you come from, Mr. Bean. The Pfaff factory was expanded and modernized. And I see you even have your shoes on today, Mr. Bean. Not only did you do your research and find out that the founder of the Pfaff Sewing Machine Company, founded back in 1862, none other than George Michael Pfaff, was a musical instrument maker before he started making sewing machines. And the first machine he made by hand was to sew shoes. Leather shoes. I am impressed. I am really, really impressed about the research that you did, Mr. Bean, in getting ready for this premiere on Debbie's machine that comes from the great state of Pennsylvania. Very impressed. The George Michael Pfaff research and the year that the company was founded, and the fact that he made his first machine by hand to make shoes, and the fact that he made musical instruments, and you even found a musical instrument in my musical instrument collection and you got it out. I don't know. I think all of the objections of Dr. Singer about you potentially becoming an assistant are starting to become a little bit more faded. But well, I'm curious now, with you over there, who's actually running the camera and everything? Ah, hi, Dr. Singer. Well, Dr. Singer, are you kind of impressed with what Mr. Bean has done as far as this Pfaff 230 presentation of Debbie's machine? No comment, huh? Well, I think you're still going to have to do some work to win over Dr. Singer, Mr. Bean. I think he's still a little bit of a skeptic. He thinks all you like to do is be silly and goof around and dance, but I think you've kind of proven yourself today. So anyway, let me come onto this shot a little bit. And I'm going to move you back to a safe position, Mr. Bean. And I'm just curious which of the musical instruments in my collection you picked out. Oh, okay. It's one of my clarinets. Beautiful instrument. I'm going to have to eventually, probably, because I haven't done a thing with this since I got it many, many, many years ago. I'm probably going to have to send this down to Bill in Kissimmee, Florida, and see if he would have an interest in restoring it. And if he restores it, you know what? For his work in restoring it, I'm just going to have him keep it, because he's going to make a lot better use out of this clarinet than I will be. So I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look and see if Bill is open to me sending this down to him and seeing what he can do with it. So what else do we have going on? Mr. Bean even got out our Germany hats, showing that he understood that both of these machines on the workbench right now, the one on the right from my personal collection, the Pfaff 229, which eventually I'll probably do a premiere on, and if anybody's interested in it, let me know. I've already done some provisional kind of rough sew-offs, but it's a beautiful stitching machine, and once I go through it with my finalization process, it's going to be a fabulous machine. So let me move these hats out of the way as well. We have a real busy workbench, don't we? Let's set these to the side. And I think since Mr. Bean made the effort of pulling the bulbs out and everything and setting the two machines up, and where did he put those? There they are. So once again, the Debbie's machine originally had a bulb like the one on the right, which is a standard 25 watt incandescent style sewing bulb that you'll find pretty much in a lot of vintage machines, if not all of them. Similar to this, either a screw-in type or one with the two flanges on it like this. And then the one on the left is a contemporary LED light designed to be able to go into machines like Debbie's Pfaff 230 or this Pfaff 229 from my personal collection. They also work in Husqvarna's as well. I recently prepared a machine for a customer and put an LED bulb in there, and that was for James, by the way, and he just went nuts over it. As we get older, lighting is more critical. Even as we're younger, it is. And these LED bulbs really are pretty impressive, especially the natural light ones, like these that I have right here. They're not a gaudy, overbearing type brightness. They're just a beautiful, bright, soft kind of a look to it, where you can really see what's going on down at that needle, and you can see what's going on all over the bed. I mean, it's just you can see it even from a distance, the difference again with all the workshop lights on, how bright that is compared to this one. You could really see it when the lights were off. I'll kind of come out on that shot again because I think it's really worth considering. And I'm also going to give an unusual opportunity right now to whoever's paying attention. See how different those are? The one on the right is the incandescent traditional 25 watt bulb. The one on the left is that new contemporary LED bulb that will work in Pfaff machines, Husqvarna's, and anything that takes that double fin type plug-in point. And I'll zoom in on that a little bit, or I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see what style I'm talking about. So if you have that with your machine, you've got that as a potential option. Let me go ahead and first of all shut off my light on the 229 because we don't need that any longer. So this is the type of bulb I'm talking about right here. It's going to have the little pin, basically a pin on either side of it. You can kind of see that in the camera. And if your lighting assembly on your machine takes this style of bulb, which is basically the same as this one, this older incandescent 25 watt bulb, then this will work in your machine. And when you see the brightness difference, it just blows you away as far as being able to really see what's happening down at the needle and have that visibility factor just off the charts. So I really am, with this style of LED light, I really am becoming a very strong believer in just how effective they are, reducing eye strain and just giving you a lot less fatigue when you're doing longer projects with that bed and needle area being lit up so well. And again, not an overbearing light like some of the LEDs can be, where they almost hurt your eyes. This is just a lot softer style LED. So here's what I'm going to give you as far as an offer, if anyone wants to take a swing and do it. if you want to call during this premiere, if you want to call my phone number, and I'm not going to be able to answer it because I'm going to be in a premiere, but if you want to call my number and leave a message and then follow up by sending me your address, if you're the first, I'll let everybody know who the first 5 individuals are that got to my voicemail and left their name and leave your name and address in there, and then I'll just I'll call you back, and just confirm your address. But what I would like to offer to do is I will send you free of charge a complimentary LED light like the one on the right. So if you have the older style bulb on the left currently in your machine, and you've been saying, gosh, I really would like to try that LED light, but I don't know where to get them, I don't know which one is right, or I just don't have time to do it, then you call my number right now. Be the first 5 callers, and I will send one of those LED bulbs to you free of charge so you can try it out in your sewing machine. And all I ask that you consider doing is send me a picture that I can put up on Facebook of you with kind of a before and after, so I can see the brightness factor on your machine. Is that fair enough? So the number to call, 920-454-0393. 920-454-0393. Again, 920, I feel like an infomercial. 920-454-0393. If you're the first 5 callers to call, you'll get one of these bulbs on the right for free. And I'll tell you one thing, I think they're fabulous. They're not glary, they don't hurt your eyes, they just boom, they just light up that bed and that needle area beautifully. And I would estimate probably about 4 to 6 times brighter than their predecessor, the incandescent 25-watt bulb on the left there. So there you go. If you want to get one of these bulbs for free, be the first 5 callers. Call right now. Leave your name, leave your address, and if you can leave your phone number, that's great. Otherwise, I'll have it in my little call log or whatever, and I'll get one of these bulbs sent off to the first 5 people that call. Okay? So there you go. Another fun way of winning something for free. All right. So let's finally get to the purpose of this premiere, which is to highlight Debbie Gauvain's Pfaff 230 that she delivered last fall. Last fall she delivered it, along with 4 other machines. And she recently sent me a little care package, and in the care package, and they're all gone already, I already ate them all, but she sent me some really cool candies that were from Germany. And she reminded me of something that I totally forgot. And that is back in the day when I used to sell a lot of sewing machines on eBay, a lot of sewing machines. And people were really enthusiastic. I mean, some of the bidding wars that went on for my machines were almost historic. And the number of followers, I think on one of my machines, I had 72 watchers watching that auction. So I used to be a big hitter on eBay, but then as eBay kind of changed and became more polluted with opportunists stepping into the realm and starting to use my videos on their listings to say, well, this is how our machine will perform, like Scott's, even though they didn't have a clue how to prepare that machine and hadn't done anything to it. And there was just a lot of charlatans out there that were beginning to distort and pollute the pure approach I was taking to selling beautiful restorative machines on eBay. So I left. I just thought, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And that was probably like 7-8 years ago I left eBay. But when I was still selling on eBay, I would have the opportunity to sell great machines like this Pfaff 230. And what I would do as an incentive for people to bid on it is I would include special little gifts that they would get excited over. And Debbie reminded me of this. And so, when I mail this Pfaff 230 back to Debbie out in Pennsylvania, I'm going to be sending 4 of these made in Germany delicious Mäuseroth. I think I'm saying that right. Mäuseroth. It's kind of fun to even say, isn't it? Mäuseroth. Mr. Bean, how do you say it? I'm saying it right? Mäuseroth? Why am I asking you? You speak High English. You don't speak German. You don't speak Deutsch aktiv. Was ist los? Ich bin verrückt. I just said, what's going on? I must be crazy. Why am I asking Mr. Bean about how to say it in German? At any rate. So I'm going to send these really yummy, and they're huge, if you can't tell based on how they're profiled against Debbie's Pfaff. They're huge chocolate bars, and they're made in Germany. You can kind of see if my camera focuses. So I'm going to be sending her one of these dark sea salt caramel, or as the fancy people say, caramel. Oh, there's the 2 little dots. I remember that from my little German training in college and when I was in Germany. Those are called an umlaut. Umlaut. Yeah, cool. So this one, and then I'll be sending her, what is this one? Private Chocolats. Dark mint. And then this one, oh boy, is this a spicy one? Dark chili. Get the fire extinguisher out. And then what is this last one? Oh, a standard milk chocolate. So just as a treat for Debbie, number one, because she traveled all the way from Pennsylvania last fall to bring out the 5 machines that she wanted me to repair and restore for her. And then she reminded me recently by sending that care package with those yummy little German candies in them that I used to give away chocolates with sewing machines. I might start doing that again, but in her case, I'm definitely going to do it as a thank you for all the opportunities she gave me to work on all the machines she brought. So this is kind of a heads up to Debbie. Get ready to open that package and get ready to hide this authentic German chocolate that I'm going to be sending to you. Okay? And any of you that are saying, can't you give away, if we call you right now, can't you give away a German chocolate bar like that instead of one of those little light bulbs? The light bulbs are awesome. But can I get a chocolate bar instead? No. No. But stay tuned. You never know. I might do a call-in opportunity where you can win one of these cool chocolate bars. How does that sound? Yeah, I think that's fair enough. So, this premiere is obviously going to have a music theme that involves polka music. To honor the German ancestry of this Pfaff 230 that came out of, obviously, West Germany. And it came indirectly by way of George Michael Pfaff because of him finding this fantastic company back in 1862. And so I think that'll be fun. I think that'll be very, very fun. Whatever I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so let me put on some more polka music, and we will do some sew-offs with Debbie's Pfaff 230. But before I put on the polka music, let me at least launch with a single sew-off. I should probably turn my volume down too, so when I put some music on, it's not going to blast us away. Let me do a quick test here. Hold on. Yeah, that's okay. Gosh, that sounds like music from Oklahoma or something, doesn't it? That's the one I played already. Okay. So, I'm going to start with genuine elk hide. with Debbie's machine. I think I'll probably do a zigzag going down, and then I'll probably do a straight stitch coming back or something like that. I have no idea. I have no idea. Debbie said, you know what, I don't even, it's no problem. Just send the machines back as you get them done, and you don't need to premiere them. It's okay, I get it. And Debbie and her family are so busy right now because out in Pennsylvania, where in Pennsylvania is she? I'm trying to remember. North Versailles, if I'm saying that right. Versailles. North Versailles, Pennsylvania. If I'm saying that wrong and you're from Pennsylvania, forgive me. But I spelled it so you can pronounce it correctly. But they last fall were getting ramped up to open up an ice cream business going into winter. If that's not courage, I don't know what is. But you know, in Wisconsin, we eat ice cream year round, so I think it totally makes sense. But they've been so busy with their ice cream business, she just said, don't worry about premiering the machines and all that. Just send them back as you get them done. That would be fabulous. But I did want to premiere this one, even though I have a number of Pfaff 230 videos already on my channel. And you know what else I have on my channel as well? And before I forget to show it, I better show it now. I better show it now or I'm going to totally forget. Back, when was it? Back on March 21st of 2019, I put together, and it wasn't an easy process. Let me zoom over here real quick. It was not an easy process to do it. I always would get contacted by folks about these stitch wheels for the Pfaff machines. And they would always be saying, do you have one? Do you have one? And I would always have to say, I have one, but I don't have one to sell because I need to keep one in my personal collection for the Pfaff machines that it relates to. This particular one, as you can see, covers 3 machines. It covers the Pfaff 230, the 3, what is that? I can't even read it on the screen because it's a little bit blurry. Is that the 332 and the 358, I think is what that says. And so those 3 machines are covered by this one stitch wheel. Oh, I can see it now. It must be my reading glasses are dirty. Oh yeah, they are dirty. Holy mackerel. Should have cleaned those. So they would always be asking, you know, do you have it? Do you have it? And I said, well, unfortunately I don't. So what I did is I took my stitch wheel and I set it on a piece of white paper. And then what I did is I took a still shot of each one of the stitches. That's a lot of stitches because I believe this stitch wheel had stitches for single needle on one side and then twin needle sewing on the other side. And every one of those had to be a separate shot. So you can see how I have it kind of lined up where the stitch that setting is going to generate. In this case, setting A is position 1, setting B is position 4, setting C is position 1. And then by setting those knobs at those positions, you get that stitch that's just above it. So I took a still shot of every single one of those stitches. And I showed in the shot as well what the knobs were, because people sometimes like, well, what knob is which knob? So there on the stitch diagram, it shows you very clearly, you know, knob A is on top in that little panel that closes. Knob B is that little dial to the right about center mass on the machine, and etc. You can see all the other knobs highlighted. And I got so much great feedback on that because it gave people a resource. It wasn't ideal because they would have to fast forward to the stitch that they wanted to know what the setting was, but still it gave them the option to at least have it. And you can see, you know, out of the people that have seen this over the time, everybody likes it. Not a single thumbs down, which is kind of cool. And then what I did is I took all of these photos and I uploaded them to a program and then generated a video and then uploaded that video to YouTube. So Do I go on my way to try to help my YouTube followers? Absolutely. And I'm glad to do it because there are some aftermarket versions of this. And some of my folks that needed it only wanted to, have access to, to pick out a stitch occasionally. And so this premiere video I did of this stitch wheel was perfect for them because they didn't need all the bells and whistles. They didn't need to have a hard copy in front of them, and they didn't have to pay what people are asking for some of these aftermarket ones, which is almost like 40 bucks a pop. So, and then I added a little bit of music to the background. Is it going to do a commercial? Oh, come on. No, 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 no. I don't want a commercial right now. Oh, for goodness sakes. Oh my gosh, I think we're coming up to a presidential election. What do you think? I think we're coming up to a presidential election. I'll kind of zoom in, and that way if you want to seek out this, if you happen to have one of these Pfaff models, again, if you happen to have a model 230, a 332, or a 338, I think I said 358 before, I think it's 338, you can potentially go to this video, which is called Pfaff Stitch Pattern Wheel Settings Time-Lapsed for models 230, 332, and 338. And then what it does is it goes from one stitch to another. I'll kind of stop moving the camera so you can actually see. So right now we're on that cool kind of a mountain stitch, the yellow one. And then it time lapses. I think it's going from right to left. I have no idea. Something like that. So now we have that blue highlighted stitch, which is settings 541. And then it'll go to the next stitch, 542. And you see how it works. It just kind of gives you a quick reference where you can kind of fast forward. If, let's say you had an interest in this stitch over here, for example, you could fast forward in the time lapse and you could get the stitch settings for that. If you don't have one of these wheels and if you don't want to spend the 40 bucks on it. So again, the name of this is Pfaff Stitch Pattern Wheel Settings Time Lapsed for models 230, 332, 338. And this is on my YouTube channel, Cow Country Vintage Sewing. And if you just go to the search little hourglass thing and type in that title type in that title, you'll be able to find this particular video. Again, it was uploaded March 21st of 2019. So, all right, let's get back to Debbie's machine, which is a 230. I might just leave this music going. I'm kind of liking this music. I'll just turn the music down. This is not really polka music though, is it? Okay, for this one stitch off, I'll play this music, which is a classical style, which I love. And then for the other ones, we'll go back to polka music, okay? Where's my shot right now? Oh, we're too wide. All right, let me lock the camera in place and we will finally get to the first stitch off. And like I said, I think we'll do genuine elk hide first. And we'll do a zigzag. Maybe I'll do a zigzag down and around. Let's see here. Okay, so this again is Debbie Gauvain's Pfaff 230. That's going to be heading out to North Versailles, Pennsylvania very, very soon. I might even try to get it packed up today. Although I've got a number of calls I have to take care of, so we'll see if I have time. Otherwise, it'll be done as quickly as possible. All right, so here we go. A single layer of genuine elk hide with Debbie's Pfaff 230. Here we go. Oh wow, the needle's even down. Did not plan that. All right, and to the finish. Doesn't that run so smooth? Isn't that's just, wow! Wunderbar! Fantastisch! Super! Oh, this is going to be impossible to see on the back of this nap. Oh, I love this song. I might turn this up a little bit. Well, we'll be able to see the top stitch anyway. I don't know about the lock stitch, but I'll zoom in on this for you. And I've got to turn this song up. I love this. I bet you Bill can name this song right away. Bill, if you're at this premiere, type it in the chat, would you, buddy? Boom, 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 boom. All right, so here's our top stitch. Sehr schön, sehr schön. Sehr schön is German for very pretty stitch. And again, if you're new to this channel, look at the thickness of that genuine elk hide. And again, genuine elk hide is chemically processed, so it's very, very difficult to get through. The chemical processing raises that piercing threshold absolutely through the roof. I'm just looking to see if I can even see anything. Yeah, the brown on brown blends so completely. It's almost pointless to show you this. It's almost pointless, but I'm going to do my best. There you can see a couple of stitches, barely. Yeah, that nap on the elk hide is so tough to see, but I think that's Bill singing. So this elk hide single layer is a definite pass. I'm going to throw it to the back. And we're going to do some more leather sewing, but we're going to do it to polka music. Nothing against classical singers. I love them. And any of you that are going to get upset because I stopped this, just go to that particular premiere I showed you with the Pfaff stitch pattern wheel settings, and you can listen to the entire song. Okay? But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put on some more polka music, and we're going to continue the sew-offs on Debbie's machine. All right, here we go. There we go. I think that's soft enough. You can still hear the music, but you can hear the machine too. And das Maschine ist sehr wirksam. This machine is very strong. Very strong. All right, so let's start with a single layer. We'll do a single layer of this, what is this, Italian leather? Why am I sewing Italian leather on a German sewing machine? Because I don't have German leather. That's why. Duh. So here's a single layer of Italian leather. And then we might double our stakes. We'll see. Here we go. Smoother than silk. Smoother than silk. Beautiful job, beautiful job. Oh, and this leather is a lot easier to see too. Yay. All right. Come on. All of you can oompa with me. So absolutely, oh, I don't have my screen turned around. And I see that I was too far out. So there's our top stitch, laying down a zigzag on this single layer of Italian leather. It just doesn't get any better than that, folks. It just does not get any better than that. And again, this is not a light leather. Look at that top edge. Talking probably close to 4 ounces of Italian leather. Italian leather is tough to get through, folks. And this 230 just did it like it was a... That was easy. Or as you say in German, kein Problem. No problem. Or is it kind of problem? I think it's kind problem. And our lock stitch looks just as good. And here you can actually see it to some extent. Coming through that nap. Beautiful stitching, beautiful stitching. All right, let's go on to our next sew-off as we have more polka music in the background. I think we're going to go do 2 layers now. I need to turn my screen around. Was ist los? What is happening? Oh, that ended abruptly, didn't it? That was disappointing. Well, that's okay. We can do the 2 layers of Italian leather. We'll do 2 layers of Italian leather, and we will, I think we're going to shorten that zigzag up a little bit. We're going to make it a little bit tighter and see how this 230 does with that. So we're at a 4 on the stitch width setting right now. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down to a 2, and then I'm also going to reduce our stitch length from a 5, which is max, down to, why don't we say about 3.5. Let's see what kind of stitch we get here. And this is going to be 2 layers of genuine Italian leather. And we're going to be doing a modified zigzag. Again, our stitch width setting right now, if you want to replicate this on your machine, is on 2. Our stitch length is on 3.5, 3.5. Here we go. That was fun. I had a little bit of an uneven feed at the end. I think this stuff is a little bit slippery. And I probably should have adjusted that presser foot pressure up a little bit to allow that material to feed more evenly over the feed dogs. You'll see that the stitch definition is just slightly varied. Where we started out a little bit narrow, and as it slipped a little bit, that stitch kind of widened a little bit more than the original stitches were. And that is totally an issue of not making those adjustments. I talk about this all the time. As you get thicker material, as you get heavier grade material, you've got to increase that presser foot pressure. And also you have to take into account as well, when you've got material like this Italian leather that tends to be a little bit slippery. It's got a slick surface to it, and we basically have it folded right now so that slick surface is on the top and the bottom. So while we have a beautiful, beautiful modified zigzag, there will be a slight variance in that stitch definition. See how there we got smaller? That was actually our starting point. I've got it facing the wrong way. But that was our starting point, and then as that material started to feed over the feed dogs underneath the presser foot, and we got a little bit of slippage, then that stitch widened out a little bit. And that's totally preventable when you're sewing heavy grade Italian leather like this, multiple layers, to get that zigzag consistently all the way across there. It's a simple matter of increasing that presser foot pressure. In extreme cases, you might have to look at, and we're flipping over to our zigzag lock stitch now. In extreme cases, you might have to look at changing out your presser foot attachment. Maybe adding a roller foot, maybe adding a walking foot, so that that material will feed more evenly. And it's actually good for you to see that this happens, because as you're changing, as I do in my premieres, to sew a wide scope of different materials to show the versatility of the machine, being able to manage it, machine has no problem at all managing 2 layers of Italian leather, which is no small task. But when you get into the feed factor, that's something you need to manage as an operator, and I didn't do a good job of it here. That's why we have that stitch variation with the width of how that zigzag is presenting. And again, we didn't do anything lightweight here. We did about 8 to 10 ounces of Italian leather. And again, the machine did a fabulous job. I failed the machine. You know, my camera's failing me. I failed the machine by not making that presser foot attachment, presser foot adjustment, blah, or putting a different attachment on if needed. If I'm sewing a lot of Italian leather like this, which tends to be very slippery, then I'm going to want to look at possibly changing from a standard presser foot like this to changing to something that's going to be more like, give me a second here, changing to something more like this. That's not even in the shot. Changing to something more like this. Can you still see? Can you see that? Where am I? Changing to something more like this. I think you can finally see it. And this is a roller foot. And you can see it's got, it's designed with 2 rollers. It's got a roller right there. And then as you turn it over, actually you can see both of them on the bottom if I just do it like that. It's got 2 metal rollers on the bottom. And if you've ever seen that construction equipment that once they lay down the asphalt, they go over it with that big roller machine. And any of you that are in construction or have been in construction, you probably know exactly what that machine is called. But you know what I mean. It's got that huge roller drum that then flattens down the asphalt. And that's kind of what a roller, the huge benefit of a roller foot in managing slippery materials like this Italian leather, is it uses those rollers to press down on that material so that it's pushing that material into the feed dogs from the top down, and it's giving you a lot better, more consistent feeding than you just witnessed me doing, not using it. So lesson learned. You know, I prep for these premieres, but sometimes there's a lot going on. There's been a lot going on, and it's sometimes you know, it's a classroom, and we learn sometimes by, look at the thickness of that. Isn't that crazy? Here you can see it as well. So 2 layers of Italian leather. Even though we had a slight stitch variation, which is a matter of presser foot pressure, it was a definite pass because the machine got it done with absolute ease. And the next thing we're going to do is some protected full grain leather. And protected full grain leather is not quite as tricky as Italian leather when it comes to that slippery factor. So I think we'll be in pretty good shape using this standard presser foot and the current presser foot pressure. It certainly is not an issue with Debbie's feed dogs. You can see that in the shot right now. The feed dogs are fabulous, and that's obviously one of the things I always evaluate on machines is if the feed dogs are dulled. And oftentimes the dulling of feed dogs, just so you understand, happens as a result of user error. what folks will do is they'll have that presser foot down like this, and they'll be running the machine. Maybe they oiled it or something, and they're just curious how it's running now. Is it turning with less drag? And they'll have the presser foot down running over those metal feed dogs. Never, ever, 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 ever do that. When that machine is running, you either need to have material between the presser foot and the feed dogs, or you need to have that presser foot in the up position. Okay? And I should mention as well, before I totally forget, the other nice feature, and you'll see this in some of my other Pfaff 230 videos from years ago, is this 230 also comes with a modest hyperextension. So if you have some super thick material and you're trying to get it underneath that presser foot, you can apply that hyperextension and you gain probably 2 to 3 millimeters. Can you see that? Is my shot right? Yeah, my shot's right. So just remember, if you have a model Pfaff 230, 230, you do have the option to have that hyperextension. Not all of the Pfaff machines have that. So it's a wonderful benefit to have if you're dealing with a lot thicker material. Okay, I better hurry up or I'm going to kill my battery and then you're going to be bummed out. And I'll be bummed out. We'll be bummed out together. So I will not put on any polka music right now. We're going to do this next sew off with protected full grain leather. We'll do a single layer, and then we will look at potentially doing 2 layers of this as well. All right, so here goes a single layer, and I think we will go, kind of debating here. I think I'll go back, I'll widen that stitch width a little bit. I'm going to go back from 2 to 4, and I'll leave my stitch length the same, which is right around 3.5. So let's see how the machine does with protected full grain leather. Just a single layer, probably about 3 ounces. Here we go. Fantastic, fantastic. And you can just hear that, the quality of that German engineering. When you're doing a task like this, which would, let's just face it, one of the contemporary machines, the plastic machines, and some of the vintage machines as well that are not optimized would struggle with even a single layer of this. And yet this machine, it just runs, it just has a beautiful hum to it as it's going through what is not a light sew-off. And that just again is an evidence of a machine that's well tuned. You know what I'm going to try to do? Yeah, I'm going to try to do this because this single layer is a little bit flimsy and it's a little bit hard to see. So from start to finish, I'm just going to kind of go across, and you can see with this material being less slippery than that Italian leather, our stitch formation and our stitch integrity, our stitch presentation is spot on from start to finish. So if you're sewing leather like this, protected full grain leather, and probably genuine cowhide as well, you're not going to have to worry as much about looking at a different presser foot attachment or messing around with the presser foot pressure, because this material tends not to be as slippery. And so we're getting a real consistent result on that stitch formation. And if we turn it over, see if I can get it facing the right way here. It'll be a little bit hard to see with this nap. Maybe I can pull it back a little bit to help. But we've got a beautiful lock stitch as well. I'm kind of looking over my shoulder. Beautiful lock stitch as well on this single layer of protected full grain leather. So that's a definite pass. I'm going to throw that to the back. Beautiful stitching, and again, that stitch integrity is spot on because this protected full grain leather is not slippery like that Italian leather stuff is. So now we're going to bump it up. Actually, you know what? Before I do another sew off with leather, let me go over to something that you haven't seen yet. It's a new material that I got. It's got a suede on one side. You can see that in the camera shot. And then it's got leather on the other side. So it's kind of a leather suede mix. It's got, again, the leather here. It's got the suede underneath. And we're going to go ahead and buzz down and do 2 layers of this just for fun. And I haven't demonstrated a straight stitch yet on Debbie's machine. She's going to wonder, will it do a straight stitch? Yes, it will. So let me adjust this down, and we'll do a straight stitch, and then we'll do a zigzag next to it on this 2 layers of leather suede material. And I would say it's probably about 8 ounces, right around 8 ounces or so. So here we go with a straight stitch, and then we'll come down the other side and do a zigzag. All right, here we go. Listen to the machine run. Listen to this machine run. This stuff is slippery too. I'm kind of raising that presser foot. I'm gonna have a little gap point there because I have to really feed this stuff. It is slippery stuff. Oh my gosh, that's slippery. Ho ho ho! I am all over the place with that. All over the place. Good gumdrops. This is a new material, and you may never see it on this channel again because it is a nightmare. Look at what I did. I am so far off course, it's ridiculous. But the stitch looks really good. See that? If you have a great stitch, there's forgiveness. If you have a great stitch, there's forgiveness. So let's go down the other side if we can find another side. Oh my gosh, what a mess. We'll go down the other side as best as we're able, and we'll lay down a zigzag. I'm serious. I don't know if I'll ever sew this stuff again. It is a nightmare. Matter of fact, I'm gonna cut the end off just because what's the point? It's all goofed up. There we go. Now it looks a little bit better. All right, let's lay down a zigzag now going down the other side. Here we go. Oh my gosh, this stuff feeds. I almost caught my hand in there. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to sew this stuff again. Nope. Not unless I put on a different presser foot attachment or something. Oh boy. I'm not even going to show this one to you. That one is awful. That one is awful. I may grab one more piece of that and give it one more try, but that is nasty stuff. Hold on a second. That leather suede stuff is very, very tough. All right. And I'm going to put on polka music because I need some inspiration now. All right, I'm trying to cut another layer of this, because that first layer was a total mess. And this may not be any better. I may have to fold it with the nap out. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I did catch my thumb a little bit, because I was battling this nightmare material. Let's give this one more try, otherwise you'll never see this on the channel again. I promise you. Oh, jeez. Alright, let's see what we get this time. It might be just as bad. Okay, that was a little bit better. That was a little bit better than the first time. Oh my gosh, that first time was just a blah. This is tricky stuff. I'll tell you one thing. This leather suede is tricky stuff. Okay, let me see if I can buzz down now with a straight stitch. And we'll see if it how it handles a straight stitch. But you really have to manhandle this stuff in order to get it to feed. Holy mackerel. All right, let me see if I can do this. That was an interesting little piece, huh? Okay, I'm really going to try to pull this stuff. I shouldn't say pull it because you don't want to pull material because it can mess up your needle in that. But I'm really going to try to manage it carefully as I'm trying to lay down this straight stitch now next to this zigzag. And we'll see how it turns out. Here we go. So there's the secret right there. The secret right there is never use this stuff again on camera. No, the secret is because it has a slight stretch to it, you've got to really manage that material and help those feed dogs and help that presser foot to guide it underneath there. Otherwise, that first sew off was just I've never used this before and I didn't try it off camera before doing this premiere. So you learn sometimes. You learn sometimes, trial and error. So here you can see that top stitch that we did. Some real consistent stitch formation with that zigzag. Just below it is the straight stitch that we just laid down. And again, because of the coloration of this material, it's going to be hard to see the stitch definition on that lower row because the stitches are blending so much. But a beautiful stitch. Here, let me do this. Is that right? Yeah. We'll do this and then you can see it hopefully a little bit easier. So once I figured out how to battle this beast and help those feed dogs do their job very well, by the way, and was able to guide this material a little bit more and kind of keep it from stretching and distorting, we got a very good outcome as far as that zigzag and that top stitch. It turned out very nicely. So we turn it over, there's no difference. This is our lock stitch now that we're looking at. And that also is absolutely spot on in every respect. So, like I said, sometimes it's an issue of operator error. I should have taken time, and I didn't, to test this material and just become familiar with it, how it reacts to the feed factor of the machine. And that first attempt was an example of operator error. Totally operator error. So beautiful stitching by Debbie's 530 Pfaff, 230 Pfaff. Once I was able to figure things out as far as this material. So I'm going to throw this to the rear. Look at how that, see how that's twisting? This is some real tough stuff. If I use it again without injuring myself as I did this time trying to fight that silly stuff, we'll really have to manage it well because it's a very tricky material to work with. All right, let's go to something less tricky, I hope. Let's go to something less tricky, and we'll do a zigzag going down a couple layers of denim. So let me see if I can fold this in a certain way, and we'll just kind of buzz down this. This is going to be my bigger piece than this one. So I'm going to fold it in half, get us to 2 layers, fold us again, get us to 4, and that's about as far as I'm going to be able to fold it. I could fold it, let me see. That would be 8 layers. I don't know if I'm able to fit that? Yeah, that's not going to be feeding well just because it's kind of bulked out. in that one spot. So we're just going to do 4 layers of heavy grade denim, which, you know what, that's enough. That's enough. Again, our goals in these premieres is not to show the max of what a machine can do. It's just to demonstrate the strength and the capabilities of the machine and the quality of the stitching. So here's 4 layers of heavy grade denim. We're going to go down, make our turn, and then come back the other way. Okay? And I think this will be a lot less of a headache than that last material we just sewed. All right, here we go. 4 layers of heavy grade denim. All right, we'll make our turn. Not to mention this thread shows up a lot better on this blue denim, that's for sure. But you got to stop still in time, Scott. Right. All right, I'm going uphill a little bit. Hopefully I'll get some good traction. So here we go to the finish line with 4 layers of heavy grade denim, laying down a zigzag. Here we go. And for the first time since I did any of the stitch offs, I actually gave it a little bit of gas, just a fraction of the gas. And rest assured, this Pfaff 230 has a lot of reserve power, Give that a clip. Okay, so we're going to be looking at 4 layers of heavy grade denim. Are you able to see that? I think you're able to see that. Beautiful stitch quality. Why don't I zoom in on this? I'm probably going to have to use my clips to hold it because it's a little bit, trying to move around a little bit. And we're getting real low on the battery here. I better step things up. So beautiful stitch quality, 4 layers of heavy grade denim again, zigzagged, looking really, really good, all the way around. And if I flip this around, we'll look at that lock stitch. Which is also a gorgeous lock stitch. I don't have the best angle, it's not bad. But again, the stitch definition, the stitch formation is absolutely spot on. Very good looking stitch. Come out on here, distance a little well. As well, you can see beautiful stitch formation, beautiful stitch quality. So I'm going to throw that to the back as a pass. And we're basically down to, at this point, compressed felt. And then I've got another rubberized type material. I think I'm going to try to do compressed felt. I'll do my 3 layers of that. And then we're going to do some wrap up on this premiere while I still have battery strength. So let me lock this in place. We'll come in just a little bit. And let's lay down a zigzag on, do a zigzag and a straight on this compressed felt. And again, remember from that other premiere, this compressed felt is not easy stuff to get through. It can hurt a machine real quick because of how dense that woven compressed material is. And we're going to do 3 layers of this. So definitely not an easy task. You can look at it from the end here. That's what 3 layers of compressed felt looks like. So we will see how Debbie's Pfaff 230 does with a task like this. This is tricky stuff, very, very tricky stuff to get through. Kind of like that other stuff we just battled a little bit ago. All right, so here we go. Compressed felt, 3 layers, and hopefully we don't break a needle. All right, here we go. All right, I played it safe. I'm going to make my turn early so I don't run out of space. All righty, now we're going to head to the finish. And again, I just gave it a little bit of gas. That is like 10% of the power of this machine, truthfully. Spent a lot of time evaluating and making adjustments on the motor and everything else mechanical, and this machine is just a powerhouse now. Plus, more importantly, it's a master stitching machine. It does a fabulous job of laying down a stitch like this that is absolutely brag-worthy. I'm going to go ahead and hold that up a little bit so it's easier to zoom in, which I hope we can do before the camera goes kaputzi. Oh, we're blinking already. So there's our, I'm going to flip this over real quick because the camera's getting ready to die. And there's our lock stitch, which looks equally fabulous. So, before the camera dies, which is going to be real fast, let me just say, Debbie, really a pleasure to work on all of your machines. I'll get this shipped pretty quick. And just a quick reminder, if you don't remember, major giveaway right now, not a single entry yet for this 1885 Singer 12K. So get your entry in. It ends 1 week from Friday, August 7th. Okay? So have a great day. Fabulous machine. There we go.